All right. This is take 3. Rebel Republic. I'm your host, the best podcast host in the universe, Steve Cully. To my left
That's questionable
is the
now.
voice of reason himself, Frank Cristiano. To the man in the red shirt who's grumpy and angry, Coach Schumann. And our special guest, Erica Higgins, who we love so much and are grateful that she's here.
Dave's angry? You Nazi.
Yes, he is. You're not allowed to be angry. We were talking, Dave, about the situation today where Trump was a little snippy with a reporter about the El Salvadorian person who was deported. And Erica had a few thoughts on the situation and statistics.
Was wrongfully deported, right? Is that what the...
Yes.
Yeah.
So
Yes.
Frank actually had said, we were talking about due process and how he was deported without due process. And
Is he a citizen?
he is a citizen. Well, he was born in El Salvador. His wife is a U.S. citizen, and he has been married to her and lived here for a long time. And in 2019, there was a court case, and correct me, Frank, because I don't have all the details of the court case, but he was being accused of being part of a gang. What was it? The MS-13?
MS-13.
MS-13, yeah.
So when this all happened today, and I saw his meeting with the El Salvadorian dictator himself, I did some research.
President, not a dictator.
President, known dictator. I did some research, and he actually has been having to check in with ICE on a regular basis, this gentleman who was wrongfully deported. And he's been very consistent and compliant with those meetings with ICE. So he never should have been deported. The mistake that the Trump administration has admitted to, and now the Supreme Court has said, get him back because you guys made a bad mistake.
Oh, they're going to take him back.
Well,
Wow.
Supreme Court wants him back.
The Supreme Court said they have to go through the process to get this man back. And Trump is saying, no, he is not going to do it when he met with the El Salvadorian president today. So when I dug in a little bit further, because I'm a fact person and I look at both sides, I go to Fox, I go to CNN, I go to everybody. Like I am a very middle of the road person. So Steve knows this about me. I am socially liberal. I don't care if you're purple, black, gay, you have 2 heads. I could care less, but I am fiscally conservative. Like I don't want you spending my money.
Just like we are. Yeah.
2 heads.
I don't care. I don't care if you have 5 heads. I don't care what you look like. If you're polka dotted, I don't care. I don't care if you like men, women, dogs. I don't care.
You could have a maroon penis.
She doesn't care if you like men. Steve, you're good.
Oh,
I
Jesus.
I don't care. But what I do care about is not spending my money on frivolous nonsense, which so that's why I'm very much in the middle. I did research on this based on all of the people that have been deported to date.
Yes.
To date, 70% of those that have been deported to El Salvador have no criminal record in the U.S. or their country of origin.
Wow.
70%.
Are they illegal?
They all have criminal records because they're illegal. You're correct on that, Dave.
Are they illegal or are they illegal citizens? That's my
Well,
first question.
I have to be honest with you. I didn't dive in that deep. All I got was they're not terrorists.
They don't have criminal record.
They're not
They're
killing
illegal,
people and raping
then there's
people
no
like they're
mistake.
being told they're doing. They're not doing that.
So my whole thing on this is if he made a mistake and they deported I'm reading now that the El Salvador president doesn't want to bring him back to
Correct.
America.
It's his
That's
choice.
so-
He said, why would I do that? You got to watch the video. And Trump's like, yeah, why would you do that? And it's like, well, because the Supreme Court said you had to. And there's a reason why.
So if he was illegally deported and he's an American citizen, then he should be back. If on the other issue, the El Salvadorians that were deported, if they were deported, whether they have a criminal record or not, and they were illegal aliens, they're migrants, or they're not citizens of the United States, you can deport them. So there's no.
But should they go to the worst prison in the world?
No,
Is the worst prison in the world.
I don't think they should.
And the other thing, Dave, is
no.
they're talking out two sides of their mouth.
The problem is when you deport people, which is why they came over to the United States in the first place, is if you deport people, it's up to then their government, whatever they want to do with them. So that's the thing you don't necessarily have control over when you do deport them. But I think
Dave, we're hearing that these are all terrorists and rapists and murderers and terrible people.
The worst of the worst.
The worst of the worst. And that's why they have to leave the country. Meanwhile, they're probably picking the lettuce or the peanuts or whatever you're eating right now. They probably picked them and we're working and paying taxes like the majority of illegal immigrants have been doing.
And Frank, you said that too. You said that it was going to affect the workforce tremendously.
Well, it is. What I think what's happening now is the ramp up in the first 3 months and will continue for another 3 months. Then I think it will die down. I think they'll get rid of initially who they think they need to get rid of as far as lists. My thing, Erica, the only thing I want to see is this from the Trump administration. You have people that are considered violent criminals. Let's just see the documentation.
Agreed.
You have the Social Security Administration being built billions of dollars. Let me just see some names. I want to know a couple guys. Find me 5 that are taking money. I'm totally for it. I love what the administration is doing financially, monetary wise. Getting rid of the criminals, if they are real criminal element, I love that as well. Get rid of all of them. We talked about the president of El Salvador.
He's a good-looking guy, by the way.
Yeah, quote dictator or not, but you know what? You may need a dictator to clean up a country. If you look at the history of El Salvador in the last 20 years, it was riddled with crime and murder, and
cleaned it up.
And within a 2-year span, they turned the whole country around. It's like one of the more safer places in Central America to actually go to. So I've got to give credit where credit is due. Maybe it does take a dictator. Maybe this country does need a dictator. I hate saying that.
Are you saying America?
Yes.
That's
America.
insane.
America, we need a dictator.
So now you're saying we need Hitler again.
I'm not saying Hitler. I'm not saying Hitler. Maybe we need someone who just calls all the shots for 4 years,
like King George.
A king, right?
Maybe not, because you'll never go back.
No,
is there alcohol in your cup?
Absolutely.
I just wanted to make sure.
Dictators don't relinquish power.
No, I know, but at some point they get overthrown or they die. So this guy Trump's 78. I mean, we're close to the end of the line. No, what I'm saying, that's far-fetched.
We've been the safest country we've been in like 50 years.
No.
Oh, no. Really, there is facts on that. We really are.
Erica, find me that, because I'll tell you right now, I went to New York City 10 years ago, and I went to New York City 3 years ago, and it's totally, I mean, literally, I can't bring my, we're maybe the last 3 months. Maybe then I agree with you.
No.
I can't say, and I can't agree that with the policies of no bail and with the policies of bringing in immigrants, undocumented immigrants into major cities, I don't know how safe that made our country in the last 4 years. Now, you may come up with numbers, and numbers but feelings. How the country feels is a totally different story. I have liberal friends in California that are scared shitless to go outside of their house in the Oakland area.
They're afraid to actually walk out the door.
They're afraid to walk out in their community because of the rampant violent crimes and the rampant crimes just in general. Hey, you're in a grocery store, or you're in a pharmaceutical store, and all of a sudden 3 masked guys come in and they start pillaging and taking everything off the shelves. You shit your pants if you're an average citizen, if you're not a criminal element yourself. So bottom line, you got to look at that and say, hey, this really does not set the tone for safety in this country. It doesn't. I don't know anyone who felt good walking out in their streets in this country. I don't during the last 4 years. I have to say it. I'm sorry.
As a mother, I will tell you this. I have not felt safe sending my kids to school ever.
Oh, wow.
Since my kids have been alive.
Sure.
But you've had to deal with some issues, and
one of
to your credit, you've dealt with them very well.
Died in Sandy Hook, so I went to his funeral. I watched him be in that coffin. And I know it's not a conspiracy. I lived it.
Yeah, that was nuts. That's not a conspiracy, please. Ugh.
Well, no, but you hear people say it, right?
Sure,
you hear people say these things, and these poor families that lost their child. it is something that will never, like, literally for the week after that wake, I don't think I slept because I just kept seeing his
Here's
face.
what I believe, and I have to look this up,
boy.
but I would bet I'm right.
You have to eat while you're doing this too.
Yeah, I'm starving, dude. I'm starving. My kid made me play hoops with him for an hour and a half.
I hope they're not nuts from Guatemala. They better be U.S. nuts.
They were handpicked by me.
Okay.
Catch your breath.
No, so here's the thing statistically. So, violent crime, since I'm looking at it now, since 2020, has been up and down. Okay, over the last 4 years. Before that, Eric is right. Up until 2020, it had sharply declined from 1993.
And what happened in 2020?
An election.
Who was
Are you talking about the Biden guy?
Joe Biden.
No.
Joe Biden, 2021. Yes.
Right, but he's coming in on the heels of
right.
Erica, they started looting and burning and rioting, and not just for Eric
during
Floyd.
COVID. That was Trump times.
It was George Floyd.
George Floyd. That's right. Sorry.
Yeah, that was Trump times.
But that went all the way through, though. That went to
DEI
years. It went to years.
Oh, you're funny, Dave.
DEI means dead end.
Yeah.
Well, actually, Chris Bellamy mentioned that companies that have the most DEI are the most successful.
My company sent out an email, happy diversity month, because it is diversity month.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm proud to work here.
DEI?
We still have DEI, yeah.
Every company has DEI, no?
Some got rid of it because of.
There's some that are cutting it because they're going to lose federal funding.
So how would you know if they're not the most successful? That hasn't even been done yet. Everybody
you know, it's still the early stages, so we don't know how it's going to play out.
It's not even been a quarter.
They made the most widgets in the last month and a half.
Well, no, I mean they cut a lot of
companies. I'll give you a quick. Most successful companies going forward will be the ones that understand how to utilize AI properly. There you go. There's your answer to that question.
What do you mean? If you ask Linda McMahon, it's A1. It's A1.
She did
it's A1.
She did say that.
That's what they're teaching in preschool is A1. I'm like,
well, that's a wrestling terminology, I think, isn't it? A1.
No,
aren't you the top tier wrestler if you're the A1 guy?
She shouldn't be in the position she's in if she's talking in wrestling.
I know A1.
Wait. I disagree. Trump is a genius because he put her in a position that he's going to X. So basically, you could put anyone in there. It doesn't matter. They're going to get rid of the whole program.
I know.
Erica, let me ask you: Do you think Doge is unconstitutional?
Yeah,
like a lot of people say.
Voted on.
Really, it is.
Okay, it's not a voted on entity within the government. It absolutely should not be in existence.
Yeah, but there are auditing
agencies.
Third parties have always been brought in to audit the government. It's not the government doing a government audit.
But he's not auditing it. He is an elected official or not what did he say? Not elected,
appointed.
Jesus.
Are we talking about Elon Musk?
Yeah. What are they calling him?
I don't know.
An
advisor?
He was appointed.
Appointed. Thank you.
He's
an appointed official.
Okay.
To run it.
That is not voted upon. That now has access to all of our information, which I do not agree with at all.
Yeah, but the government in the past has brought in non-voted agencies to come in and do audits.
Doge has existed, but it's been called different things.
Right. It's just not anything.
But it hasn't been as drastic.
Eric,
you have to realize the person running it who's got government contracts worth billions of dollars, where he's self, getting money himself out of this.
I bet you any entity or organization, any entity or organization that they brought in the past has had some kind of contact with the government, whether it be a different kind of funding or they have stocks or they have whatever it is. Any organization or group that they would bring in from the outside would have some kind of direct or indirect contact with the government. And you can't trust the Congress, the politicians, to be able to go in and organize groups to audit because they're all receiving illegal funding as well through third parties.
They're all on the tape.
So now you've got to wipe that whole group out. You can't say Congress is going to come in and audit everything. Well, then why did they do that for the last freaking 20 years? Why do we not have extreme audits to cut spending where it is? Listen, you're a fiscal conservative, so you, as well as any other smart person, realizes that the country cannot continue on a path that it's going to be successful.
We have a lot of inflation. Like
It's not. No. It's not just inflation.
Oh.
We are constantly spending more than we're taking in.
Yeah, we just keep
It's a
printing money.
deficit. That's all it is. It's very simple to look at.
Well,
Okay.
But then we just passed a budget that's going to add like $87 trillion over 30 years. So
Well, I don't know if those are the exact figures. And plus, if you're doing trade deficit deals right now, that's going to actually bring that back. The trillions coming back in will balance out a lot as well. People will realize. I mean, Doge is going in right now. This is the purpose of Doge, to go in to try to find. They always said they wanted to cut $2 trillion. Why? Because they want to add $2 trillion to the deficit and make it balanced. They're going to spend a little more on one end, but they're going to find where to cut it on the other, because they can't But over time, you got to realize they're going to find X amount of dollars this year. That's going to, as long as the budget doesn't increase or maybe it decreases over time, you're going to save money along the long term, because of all these departments. You got to admit, Erica,
It was
a lot
the
of these
circumcision.
a lot of these departments.
Come on.
No, but that's one
We're
example.
spending trillions.
But there's a lot of departments that are just that are duplicates and triplicates that don't need to be there, and there are
I
tons of federal
100%
employees that don't
agree
need to be there.
I agree.
Right.
But I think they're not doing it in a way that is organized and makes sense. You're hatcheting the inspector generals right away. Really? Okay, let's do it in a methodical, intelligent, smart way that's going to make sense, rather than just let's get rid of all of the Department of Health. Let's get rid of all of the Department of Education.
Department of Education, yeah.
I mean, and I sit here as a mother with a kid who has a 504, and I'm hearing that my schools.
What's a 504?
504 is special needs. So kids that need extra help. So my son with his ADHD, he's got a 504.
IEP?
What'd you say?
Like IEP?
No, well, there's IEPs and 504s. There's two different, but along the same lines, Dave. Yes. So they're saying that and I'll give you an example. Every Friday, we get a newsletter from my son's elementary school.
Really?
Every Friday.
An elementary school.
Every Friday, we get a newsletter. And
Is it a paper or is it email?
Email.
Okay, good. That's not they're wasting money. That's going to get
no. It's an email blast. I get one from the high school. I get one from the middle school. But the elementary school one, they pick a color. So and this is all technically DEI, right? It's DEI of how of what they're considering DEI is talking about social, emotional, all these different aspects of ways of learning for kids. So once a week, they pick, let's say empathy is the word of the week. They talk about it every morning on announcements. What does empathy mean? Giving examples of empathy. If they show examples of empathy to other students throughout the week, they get a Panther Pass. So it promotes positivity. So the kids you're encouraging them to have these good values.
Well,
that is technically DEI. All of these good things we're doing for kids. Yes, that is a DEI program. So all of the vision of what people think DEI is, it is not at all what they think. We're not making kids gay. We're not like telling white people that they're bad because slaves existed. Like none of that is happening. It's all this delusional world that
wait. It's not happening in your school district.
It's not happening. I mean, my father-in-law is a professor at a college. He's like, I said, Tom, help me understand. Is this stuff really being taught? He's like, unless you take a critical race theory class, then it's being taught. You are not teaching critical race theory to anyone in a public school in the United States of America. It is not happening. It is not.
No.
They want to.
Who's the kid? Who's the guy from Palestine? Who's the guy from
here? Trump's idea of dismantling the Department of Education is taking some of the key functions of it and moving it to other departments, obviously to.
But you can't put the Department of Health over 504s, because then their whole theory
of local though isn't the decisions
state by state.
It's state by state and then local by school district.
Well, in theory, but if they're getting federal funding,
yes, they'll cut the federal funding.
They're getting rid of the people. They're not getting rid of
the funding. I think the money's still going to be there.
You have to read the bill.
I think they're getting rid of the. I think they're getting rid of the administration funding. I don't think they're cutting
rid of the funding for those programs. So I read the bill.
Remember, though, he said he's going. The statement was they're going to take the money and give it to the states, but they're going to eliminate the bureaucracy of the Department of Education.
If they have DEI programs, they will not be getting the funding. And what I was explaining to you guys is the program that my son and their school has rolled out Whereas every week there's a word, respect, empathy, kindness, all of that is technically a DEI program. So
Well,
if they are doing things like that, they cannot get federal funding for 504s, IEPs, and all of that.
Why can't they just change the terminology of the set that
they're not calling it? We're not calling it a DEI program, but that's what it is.
Right. So you say, well, I mean, I would think that the schools or the states could argue that that's not a DEI because we're not talking about hiring because of race or ethnicity. We're not talking about.
Isn't that part of the So isn't that part of the American Disabilities Act?
That's the IDEA, yes. But Linda McMahon doesn't even know what that is.
Linda McMahon doesn't know what she is.
Confirmation hearing, she had no idea what IDEA is.
Yeah,
I have a degree in speech pathology. Like, that's my degree from UConn, and we had to go through all of those classes for all, schools and special needs and all of these things. And my mom is in her 52nd year of teaching special ed. So for me, like, it's a very, very touchy subject because my best friend has cerebral palsy. She's my middle son's godmother. You remember Sarah from college. She is a master's prepared person working at Boston University. She's brilliant. If she didn't have all the services she had as a kid, I don't know, would she be where she is now and is successful? But I feel like there's this tainted vision of people with disabilities are not able to be successful anymore, and that they want them. And again, I've read this in Project 2025 because I'm still nauseatingly reading it, that they would like people who are identified as special needs to go to work and not go to college. So that's why they're trying to get rid of these types of programs to separate the successful people or the people that have no disabilities versus people that do. And to me, as a mom with a kid who is funny, smart, he just is hyperactive and can't.
That's different. Yeah.
But he is technically got a 504 and he's labeled for that. So they're going to take that funding away. So the bill is disturbing. I'm not going to lie. As a mom with a kid like
Erica, what would happen if they did take away funding for it?
Then there wouldn't be
to your kid. Like what would he lose?
Wouldn't be there.
Okay.
All the paras for all the kids that need one-on-ones wouldn't be there. They would. I mean, it will drastically impact.
Can I ask a question? I mean, why would the school psychologist be eliminated? I mean, that's nothing to do with DEI.
That has to do with kids with special needs that are labeled
504. Yeah.
Right, but they're not.
There won't be funding to pay for the school psychologist.
No, I understand that, but I'm saying so you're associating the 504 with the DEI. But see, I don't know how those two can be associated. But
again, I'm saying like the DEI. If you have a DEI program, whatever that may look like,
right,
the funding is not going to happen anymore from the United States government. So in turn, people in Connecticut, and I'll use Connecticut as an example. Right, we're a blue state. People love or hate Lamont. There's things I love about him. There's things I hate about him. But our taxes, because we're number 2 in the country for education. It's Massachusetts and Connecticut, 1 and 2. They're not going to allow our school systems to go to shit. So our taxes are going to go up. And then people are going to be like, it's Lamont's fault. No, It's not Lamont's fault. It's Trump's fault and his idea of getting rid of.
Well, the question is should that be a state issue or should that be a federal issue? As far as DEI is going to become a state issue as a whole.
It could, but it's not.
So states like Connecticut and New Jersey and New York are probably going to have DEI as long as
it could.
It may be under a different name.
They're just not going to have funding.
Yeah, Chris Bellamy
has said he's always had 504 kids.
Right now, it's currently federal. It hasn't been brought back to the states. That's the issue. So I can see her concern there. If it gets cut everywhere. And the states don't have the power to do anything else about it.
Dave, I think we
raise taxes.
Yeah, I mean, let's put it like this. The DEI, the 504 section, that's part of.
God, you're very bad.
That may be something that has to be addressed separately.
But they're not. They are separate. So DEI is one thing.
Yes.
But what the federal government and Trump and Linda McMahon are saying is if you have DEI programs, whatever that may look like within your school, all of your federal funding will go away.
Gone. Yes.
And you had 10 days to prove that you did not have these programs within your school or your funding was gone.
Yes. Yes, I heard that too.
I just think that needs to be the like you said, the vernacular needs to change, and that not to be associated with DEI. My thing is, Dave, we were talking about how podcasts are now allowed to go into the White House press secretary.
How does the ADA though? Where does the ADA fall into the whole entire thing? So
they don't have power.
No, the ADA, which is like American Disability Act.
Them. Okay.
Protections for them.
Well, protections right now really don't mean jack shit.
Or the ACLU. Yeah.
We're not even listening to the Supreme Court when we're supposed to get people out of inappropriate prisons. That doesn't matter. He doesn't care about any of those. He doesn't even know what they are, really. Linda McMahon didn't even know what IDEA was. Like, she has no idea.
Yeah, Linda McMahon should not have been appointed again. She didn't do a good job the first time around.
And it's fine. You could be a hatchet person, but you got to be an intelligent hatchet person to know so you can counteract and have an intelligent response to why you're actually dismantling an entire entity of the U.S. government.
I think I read is it's two different things, 504 and DEI. I'm confused.
There are two different things that they're associating the funding. It's like you're bad if you have DEI, so we're not giving you your 504 funding.
I really just don't know enough to know on that. I mean, I don't know. It seems like it's listed everywhere as two different things.
They're associated with each other.
I keep saying, Dave, we got to get a press pass and get in there and ask Carolyn a question or two about this to see where it gets directed.
I like the Pam Bondi lady. I want to ask her a few questions.
You got the blonde?
Yeah,
got the blonde?
So
it's that blonde broad, Dave.
I wanted to ask Erica about this because we had been talking about bail reform and everything. The teen suspect who stabbed Texas track star Austin Metcalf to death is free on bond, and that is pretty crazy. A significant bond reduction Monday morning. The 17-year-old accused of stabbing Frisco, Texas track star Austin Metcalf to death has been released from jail. And
we don't have rules anymore, Steve.
I know we don't.
We have a 38 count felon as a president. And I sat here and had conversations with my sons that I'm trying to raise them to be respectful, kind, chivalrous, gentlemen, keep your penis in your pants, don't do anything that you shouldn't do. I am working my ass off to create men that are actually upstanding citizens.
Erica, the penis has to come out at a certain point.
Well, it can, but not inappropriately. Not inappropriately, if you know what I'm saying.
Even when it was coming out appropriately, I've been accused of being inappropriate, but I mean, it was appropriate, I thought.
You know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So I sit here and I have an internal struggle as a mother, that you see this vulgar human who has zero respect for women, who literally cannot stand the fact that people can stand up to him. He's literally, my grandfather is a war veteran, flew gliders with planes with no engines in them.
Wow, that's awesome.
And he's rolling over right now. He is literally flipping with how veterans are being treated. How, it's mind-blowing to me. And I have to sit here and tell my boys, I'm still raising you the right way. You can't look at him as any type of role model because he is the complete opposite. So you've got a kid who stabbed someone to death. Listen,
and he got let out. Yeah.
I mean, I could do tax evasion. He can do it. I should do it.
Are we talking about Trump or are we talking about
Trump? Yeah, we're talking about Trump.
He can get away with murder. Literally, all types of things he can get away with. Everybody should be able to get away with anything now. No,
he could get away with it. He could pull it off.
He's gotten away with sexual assault. Listen, the list
he's been impeached twice.
That's civil.
This is come on. We're going down
twice.
If we're talking about the judicial world and having validity, he is a convicted felon. End of story. Like,
is he really?
It's not a conspiracy. It is not a witch hunt.
It's not a witch hunt. No.
It is not a witch hunt.
What is he a felon of? What are he convicted of a felon?
I don't
DEI
know.
on Trump here.
I don't know.
Definitely.
Little DEI on Trump.
That's
Listen.
okay. That's all right. Listen, like I said, and earlier on, half the world is one way. Half the country is one way, half the country is the other.
The question about.
Are you done eating peanuts?
I'm eating nature granola.
Okay.
But
Okay, your question about what?
Do I agree with the kid
what was
getting
the question
let out?
here? Steve,
Well,
I
what was
agree
the
with the kid getting let out on bond.
The answer was, if Trump can get away with anything, then why can't this guy get out, be paroled for murder?
What did Steve ask? What did you ask about
The
it?
17-year-old
The 17-year-old
student in Texas just got
had
released
his
on
bail
band
reduced.
after stabbing the other kid in the
And
heart.
he
and
got
died.
murdered.
The question what?
That's ridiculous. Like, how does that? Isn't that
Very
ridiculous?
simply
How does that
put,
happen?
it's absolutely absurd.
And it's Texas.
The
Texas.
and it is Texas, so it's probably a conservative judge.
And his name's Carmelo Anthony.
Yeah.
The real Carmelo Anthony might have to change his name.
You got to realize he's a minor. Number one.
And his bond conditions include house
arrest, and someone's been assigned to him. Yes, that's correct. But the bottom line, see, this is what's wrong with the country. Until all the information is out, you've got posts that are online that are totally false.
I don't need to know. The only information I need to know is that he stabbed and killed somebody. That means that whatever went on beforehand, whether it was an argument, I don't care if it was someone.
Doesn't matter.
Yeah, but you can't look at it that way, Dave.
Because he decided to stab and kill someone.
If it's self-defense, it's something different. Now, granted, one person had a weapon, one person didn't. Kyle Rittenhouse had a gun.
Absolutely no. There's absolutely.
I was on Kyle Rittenhouse's side.
This kid is going to go to jail for a very, very long time.
I agree.
I think he will too eventually.
But you need all the info. We need to know. All I've heard is hearsay.
Yeah.
He did this. He didn't do
There's
this.
a million witnesses. There's a million witnesses there.
So until we get all the documents, realistically, he shouldn't be out on bail. He should be detained, and we should get all the information over time, and then bring it to court like anything else. And then right now we know that he can't be charged with the death penalty, and he can't get life in prison because those are the first. Right, exactly. So those are two things we know that are off the table, and after that, they just got to determine guilty or innocent or mistrial, whatever it may be.
Go to prison for a long time. I mean,
does movies still exist? I remember when I was a kid, juvenile delinquent centers were like a thing. Like there were kids in my school. Like I feel like they're gone. Like do they still?
No, because that was Bush's No Child Left Behind. Everyone had to be.
They exist. Juvenile delinquent. They exist. But this kid is not going to go juvenile. Like this kid's going to go.
But here's what you need. If you want to clean up the country, you do a simple thing.
Well, you said the Singapore thing. Start cutting. That would help too. But they don't cut. No, that's not Singapore. Singapore, they cane you. So what I think needs to be done is this: if you are a minor, you will go to jail. If you are a minor and you commit a crime that's offensive enough for time, you mean real jail?
Real jail.
Oh, you can't do that.
Oh, yeah, you can. You stick them right in there in real jail. Maybe you have someone monitor them so they're not being abused in a way, but they need to. That will scare the shit out of any young child and put them on the right path to not be there again or do what they or commit.
That'll do it right there.
Absolutely.
Just send them to real jail.
Corporal punishment and fear for life.
A 13-year-old, just send them there.
13-year-old. Remember Scared Straight, where they put the 13 or 14-year-old in the jail cell and two guys.
One of my favorite shows.
Right, you watched the episode on Saturday Night Live with Eddie Murphy and okay. So
but it was also like mainstream kids that were not bad. My husband was part of his youth group when he was in high school, and they took him to the prison in Newburgh, New York. And it was Scared Straight. And one of the kids, none of them have ever gotten in trouble. It was like, bring them there to literally scare the shit out of them so they don't turn into that. One of the kids got so scared because one of the prisoners yelled in his face. He passed out.
Right.
He still tells the story. And I feel like every kid needs to go to that.
Kids in the inner city who grow up in difficult situations are not going to fear that stuff.
Well, no, because
as soon as they get in, they're like, "Hey, Uncle Bob,
I know you."
They're not going to fear.
I know everybody in here.
The whole key. I mean, the key to get to lowering crime this is my opinion, is
I
in
love
order,
how you preface
in
that.
order you gotta have two parents active in the household, taking care of kids. That's going to give you the best chance.
That's your
Nothing
solution.
can be eliminated 100%. Nothing can be eliminated 100%. It's going to give you the best chance to have more kids have a better chance at things.
It's just two parents. That's all it takes.
The problem is, as a whole, and there are certain races that it's more prevalent, but all races have this going on, is a single parent households.
Well, marriage is a failed institution.
The more that becomes more of an issue, the less. Listen, women are rarely
getting pregnant by degenerate men.
Yes, women are rarely the problem as far as from a dangerous crime standpoint. I mean, it's men that are the problem with murders, and so when you don't have, in a lot of these households, you don't have other men to
Dave, if you're out fornicating and you have 6 or 7 kids, you have to rob and steal to pay and feed everybody. There's nowhere else you can get around it. So, bottom line,
did you just say fornicating?
Yes,
I don't fornicate.
You don't do anything.
I do.
Well,
I don't fornicate.
See, Erica's point was totally true. Keep your penis in
your pants.
She said that to her kids. Erica, I wanted to get your opinion because we've discussed this the last couple weeks. Everything that's gone on at Columbia University, the takeover, not letting custodians out, taking people prisoner over Israel and Hamas and all that stuff. What are your thoughts about how that's been handled? And then our lovely governor, that Hochul lady who can't put together a budget. Our 2025 budget's going to be done in 2027.
I'm crossing my fingers on Erica's answer. Come on, Erica. Come on.
Listen, here's the thing. It's not just Columbia, right? It's like Harvard's been having it. I feel like a lot of these upper echelon Ivies are all
smart, Frank said,
having these issues. So do I agree with how they're being handled? No. Do I agree that there's issues with many aspects of this Hamas and Israel thing that is ugly and messy and
been going on?
There's a lot of what am I trying to say? They're identifying people as they're one or the other. They're saying they're part of it or they're not part of it, or they're pointing fingers, and they're honestly, I don't agree with any of it. I think it's to take away the funding and things that Trump is doing. I think it's like $2 billion he just took away from Columbia or Harvard or one of them.
Are you serious?
It was $1 billion from Harvard. It was like $410 million to Columbia.
Wow, I mean that's a drop in the bucket to Columbia or to Harvard.
They have those schools have an endowment of like
no, but I agree, Dave, but I think the point of it shouldn't. I don't think that the government needs to be overly involved like they are. They want to say, what is the Republicans' way? Less government.
Sure.
Okay, so don't get involved. Like, let them.
They aren't. They're just taking away their funding.
But Erica,
they're still involved.
The government needs to provide protection.
Right.
And here's what's happening on these campuses. Jewish students especially, or anyone that does not agree and grab a Palestinian flag and put a mask on their face and a cuff or whatever they call it around their neck, those people are being discriminated against, not just verbally, but physically. Okay. And the intimidation factor is a strong message to this government to get involved and to start curtailing these actions. Now, the best way to do it, let's see how tough these campuses are right now when they have to dip into their endowment. They do not want to do that. So bottom line, you'll see one by one, they will capitulate. Now, here's the fact. How do they capitulate mean? Capitulate means one by one, they will surrender to the federal government's assertion, and they will start enforcing protection measures. They will start taking.
They want money. They all want their money.
Right.
So, using that word.
So I apologize. But what all I'm saying is right now that you're going to see a big turnaround with it. I don't see any protests at my alma mater, Cortland State University.
Well, because it costs $8,000 to go there.
No, a little more than that, but you're right. But bottom line, the thing is that it's allowed to go too far. If you want to, a great statement was made by someone in the administration. You want to protest? That's not a problem. Go get your permit. Peacefully protest. Inform.
Attack other students.
That's
wasn't
the issue.
it the left that came up with safe spaces?
Yes,
I mean,
and there are no safe spaces for the ethnicity that has been persecuted.
Well,
probably as much as the Armenians have. Armenians have been persecuted throughout their whole history. The Jews have been the same way. So, bottom line, I think this extends, like you said, Erica, you're correct. This is way beyond our comprehension as far as that battle in the Middle East. That will never end. They will continue to every thousands of years. Every 5 or 10 years, there's got to be a spark up. Yeah. I understand Israel's side. I understand the Palestinian side a little bit as well. My problem is this simply is why aren't the other Arab states all getting together to fund?
Lebanon. They don't want the Palestinians in their country.
Right. Well, I'm not saying they want to bring them in the country. I'm saying they could have funded Gaza.
Where are they supposed to go?
And they could have. Now the problem is Israel had basically Gaza was a surrounded state. I mean, Israel controlled everything on imports, everything on exports. Right. So, but there could be deals made. Hey, listen, we'll have no terroristic activity against Israel. We promise this. The Saudis promise this. And if it does, then you can come and yell at us or negotiate with us if something happens. But bottom line, we'd like to get Gaza some more humanitarian.
It's not Palestinian. The Hamas is the group in power.
Correct.
There is no such thing as a Palestinian plight because the Hamas is in charge of the Palestinians, and the Hamas.
No,
just like the PLO used
but they voted that organization in.
So Hamas is out.
They voted Hezbollah, and so up in Lebanon.
The problem, the thing is, the Palestinians.
I wasn't part of Hezbollah.
The Palestinians want Hamas. They want Hamas.
Right. Yes, they do. I disagree now. Because
maybe now they're shifting. Right. Yes, now they're shifting.
Small groups are shifting in Gaza. Right. I mean, whoever's left. I mean, if you've seen the decimation that's there.
You said they're getting 50-year-olds.
It's awful.
There.
What's that?
You said they're getting like 50-year-olds in the military.
No, that is Ukraine and Soviet Union.
I get them all mixed up.
You do. I know you have mental problems.
They're all getting whoever they can get at this point, really.
Right. But I just think, and there's no. To me, I've washed my hands to the situation as far as overseas. But what we can control is what's happening in the U.S. You want to protest peacefully. Get your permit. Get your security. Inform the police. Make sure everything is safe. Border yourself up and wave and blow all your flags that you want. But once you start threatening Jews on campus, once you start taking janitors and because you thought that they were like the Mossad, they were giving information out to who's leading the charge, right? It's ridiculous.
Those people just work there.
Now we're gonna see some true action. We're gonna see money taken away, and money talks. And now I want to see what they're going to do. They're not going to be.
I have something great for Erica. I have
something. Go ahead.
I have something great. Lay it on me.
You in your red shirt and you're eating peanuts. Oh God, here we go.
Oh yeah, no, I couldn't even. I wanted to vomit when I saw this.
That's 314. Yeah, it was great.
Is this when Shaq tries to hug him?
No. Oh yeah, I think it is. Yes, it is.
Fantastic.
I literally wanted to vomit in my mouth when I saw that.
They love him at UFC.
You didn't like the ring girls?
I didn't like that.
He doesn't like Trump. She's totally. Listen.
No, she likes Trump. She just doesn't like some of his policies.
No, I don't think so.
No, she doesn't like Trump.
No. You're way off, Steve. You're way off on that one.
Listen, I want like George Bush back. I want like Mitt Romney.
Mitt Romney.
Normal Republican.
He's not normal. He's the biggest two-faced turd that's out there.
Isn't he Mormon?
Mitt Romney is the biggest two-faced turd that this party have ever had. He's not Republican. He's not Republican. He's not. He's useless. That's what he is. George Bush. My picture of George Bush
his first one was good.
Is how Saturday Night Live portrayed him when Will Ferrell dressed up as George Bush and had a ball of yarn and was like, playing around with a ball of yarn like a cat. That's George Bush.
George Bush's best moment was 9/11.
9/11 on top of that rubble. Absolutely.
No, when he threw the first pitch out for the Yankees.
No,
I give him
he's on top of the rubble.
That was his best moment. He got that right, and then instead of continuing to go after Osama bin Laden, he decided to go after
Saddam Hussein. Saddam Hussein.
Well, in our own country,
Saddam Hussein doing bad things, yes, but we did not need to
But
go
hold
after
on, I want
him.
to pivot. You guys just said 9/11. One of the things I've been following is Trump also defunded the entire 9/11 fund for all of the victims, and
that hasn't been paid out yet either, right? A lot of people haven't received money.
It ended. So all the 9/11 victims that have, I think it was like so many years worth of their medical bills, all of this, he shut it off. The faucet is off.
So there's no more money.
He shut it off. That's where Doge decided to save some money. And I sit here and I'm like, these people legit.
They waited 20 plus years
digging for people. They were.
Okay, so I do have to read. I do have to read this to you. After GOP criticism, Trump reverses cuts to 9/11 survivors program.
Oh, wasn't that thoughtful? It's another mistake.
February 22nd.
Let's just do it and then roll it back.
Well, in fairness, yes. In fairness, when you take your penis out of your pants and you fornicate at such a rapid rate,
because with the
at a rapid rate, after a while, you don't know which kid is yours, which kid isn't. So you got to take it back.
Give her credit. She dated a kicker. That's what kind of person.
Oh my God!
That's how nice.
Oh my God!
She dated the kicker.
That's like dating a wet piece of paper.
No,
come on, no way.
That shows what a good heart she had.
Kicker. Oh
she dated our kicker.
Oh, that's so sympathetic.
Yes.
Hey, can I go and make one point about DEI now? So now they're imposing pulling funding away from colleges that obviously for the DEI situation right now. So just recently, a guy went undercover and interviewed one of the professors in South Florida's campus.
Yes,
and
Florida
so
skirted it.
She admitted on camera talking to the guy who obviously was impersonating like he supported her. She said that the way they get around the DEI federal rule is that they fund all DEI programs through the student fund or the student activities fund. So if the money comes in and money coming in can be diverted to the student activity fund and the school collaborates with the fund, but pays it out of the school fund, nothing is ever traced.
Yeah,
it doesn't look like any money's going out DEI. That's very ingenious.
About that. Yeah. As long as it doesn't take away from the kids, then who cares where it's coming from?
Right. Well, nothing's being taken away from the kids. Money is pouring in to the school, to the students fund, but then just being diverted to DEI.
Creative accounting.
Listen, all I said all along in my life, all the government does is teach you how to be a good crook.
Yes. Yeah. Yes. So, Erica, the last thing I wanted to get your point of view on, because this is something I'm a buff on this. The Menendez brothers could be getting released, and I don't think they're going to get a new trial, but they could be getting resentenced and released. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, there's a thing called due process, right? Like,
well, they've appealed, and it's been 30 years, and
it is when the government is
reformed,
and the judiciary is done in the right way, and like they have every right to do what they're doing.
They did their time, right?
And there's so many now things that are coming out. I watched part of the documentary on Netflix. I haven't finished it yet.
That's all right.
Yeah.
I watched it.
You what?
Dave watched it.
I got through the first one and I'm like, meh, I don't know if I want to.
I didn't like the mother. The mother should have stuck up for him more. Jose was just nuts.
I don't watch it, but I have heard through third party officials that ICE will be sent to the courtroom.
Once the
jury,
we're not deporting the Menendez.
Yes, they are Menendez. They're Hispanics.
They're going to be in El Salvador.
They're Cuban. They're Cuban.
You're going to shave their heads. They're going to put them all in white.
They're Cuban. They vote Republican. They're not going to be deported.
That's true. They're Cuban.
Dave, do you have any thoughts on this? Do you think they should be released, resentenced, and released after? I mean, it's 30 plus years.
Nobody cares.
Yes, they do.
Are you asking Erica or me?
You.
Me? Dude, those guys. I've watched a lot of stuff on them.
I've watched everything on them.
I don't care. Listen, maybe the parents did some of this stuff. I don't know. Nobody knows, right?
And the psychologist squealed on him.
The bottom line is they plotted to murder their parents, carried it out, in a horrific fashion. Like the bottom line is the end result here. Like, nobody's saying that their father have been a real dick.
The uncle
I mean,
fainted
you
in
know,
court
like,
when they showed the
I
pictures.
mean,
Yeah.
there's a lot of people whose parents are asses that they don't kill them. You know, I mean,
Well, with a shotgun, yeah, that's true.
Let him burn. Who cares?
So
I mean,
30,
I don't know. I mean, listen,
well,
they're
30 years.
Have they
30
been
years.
like good in prison? Like,
Yes, they've been reformed. Yes,
Who cares? Reformed? How do you know
they're
that?
reformed. Well, I
Let 'em
just go
burn.
by the
They
reports.
killed their parents, for Christ's sake. You know what kind of evil bastard you have to be to kill
They
your
didn't
parents?
get the death penalty, but think about our taxpayer money that's going to support them.
Then go back and support the death penalty, because they should have just been firing squad. Idaho just approved firing squad too. For
I
death
saw
penalty.
that, and I
Love
want to be
it.
honest with you.
Yeah.
I would like to be part of that firing squad.
Well, because
Yeah.
the Lori Daybell girl, I hope she gets the firing squad.
Whack
I don't like
her. Whack her.
I don't like her.
I like public hangings. I know I
Everything.
sound
You want to do
terrible.
all that? Good, Eric.
Think about this right now, Erica. Think about this right now. So,
you like
guy
public
goes in-
hangings, huh?
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh,
Salem.
yeah, Eric will
Salem.
do-
Washington.
Hang 'em high. The
Burn
movie.
people
You
at
see
the
the movie Hang 'em High?
Yes,
Great
love
movie.
it.
You know,
Think about
that's the way Doge can save money.
Steve,
Oh,
that's
yeah.
a movie for you.
Yes,
Got to watch.
yes,
Hang 'em
30
High.
years in
Great
prison.
movie.
Now,
Hour
listen,
and 20 minutes only.
Someone
Great
steals. Someone goes into Walgreens and steals
No,
$5,000 worth of stuff.
we're
No.
hanging
No. You arrest them. You bring them into a cell. Okay. You do a live stream across the nation. You say live
We're
NBC.
gonna live stream
You're
it.
going to cane them. You're going to cane them for stealing
on live.
on live stream, so everybody sees it. How many
Isn't that
people
what
are
they
gonna
do in the
start robbing?
Middle East? That's
How many people are gonna start
crazy.
robbing?
I know what they
And
do. in the
listen,
movies.
I was when I was a
Put 'em
little
in
boy in
jail.
Morocco. We got off the boat in Morocco.
What the
and
hell were you doing in Morocco?
That was a cruise. So what they tell you right now is do not steal in Morocco.
Oh yeah, no.
You know how you know who the thieves are in Africa and especially northern
have
Africa.
one hand.
They have one hand. The
Yeah.
right hand gets cut
Yeah.
because the
That's
thieves are
their
right.
good hand.
I'm left-handed, so I took just a couple.
Well,
things.
how did you jerk off?
I'm left-handed.
Oh, okay. So I'd have to learn with my left. All
Yes.
right. I don't
No,
know.
just ask your boyfriend.
Oh, my
He'll do it for you. He'll do
Okay.
it for you.
All right. Well,
Yeah,
this has
I'm
been-
not into that. I don't. The Menendez. I mean, I think Frank's right. Who cares at this point? But
I think you let them go.
I don't.
Yeah, they got to go. They've done their time. It's 30 plus years.
No, who cares?
They're sorry. They got touched.
I'm so sorry. I killed two people.
They
Let me
got
out.
touched. They got touched.
Yeah, they were touching themselves.
They
If they
were-
got, if they listen, if it was legit, like I don't know if they can even prove any of this. They can't.
They can't.
So,
They can't.
if any of this really happened,
Well,
do I feel sorry for them if that did happen?
You have
Absolutely.
empathy? Oh, because you normally
I have
have zero
empathy.
empathy.
I have a lot of
zero
empathy.
Dave does
You
not
normally
have
zero
empathy.
Wow.
This is fake. Like the piano in the background. There's no way that you have empathy, Dave.
Hey,
Okay.
I think
I
Dave
can
has
tell
empathy.
I have
I
empathy.
think it's deep
doesn't.
down in
No
there.
way.
I
No
think
way.
it's there.
No way. The 20% of Filipinos coming out. No way.
All right. Well, this has been a banner episode of Moneyline. The
We're
voice of
out
reason
shorter than
here.
normal.
Well, yeah, we're going shorter because we got to do the other episode.
Rapid fire shows tonight.
We got the coach himself, David Schumann, and Erica.
I like having
Wait,
Erica
he's
on.
playing-
We should have Erica on more.
Erica can't stay up
No,
late.
we
have
can't-
to get her up. We
no,
can't keep
we
her
can't-
up late.
we can't
She's
have
got-
Erica
Listen, if
anymore.
I plan ahead of time,
She's
I
got
can
3 kids and she
She
stays
came
up
on
late.
and it was like throwing a wrench in the machine. She screwed
Yeah,
everything
you know
up.
what?
No,
It's
she
more
was great.
Steve.
Giving us a totally different angle. We don't want these angles. We want
As
everybody.
soon as a woman comes on the show, forget
Messes
it.
everything up.
Steve
Messes
can't even
everything up.
focus anymore.
It's awful.
He's
It's awful.
done. The whole entire show's shot.
You're just saying that because of the interview I did with the basketball player. That's bullshit.
The second,
That's
the
bullshit.
second we have a female, attractive female on,
Right.
forget it.
Right.
Listen,
It's
I
over.
was a
Everything
nervous
she
wreck
says
interviewing
is
her.
True. Erica could have said the sky is red, and you would have said yes.
Yep.
It's red.
Yep.
Of course, it's
Erica-
red.
He's renewing.
Erica has
said,
seen
like-
things that she should have never seen before in the locker room.
Erica could have
he's-
said, "I'm moving to Russia." Steve would say, "I'll come with you."
Hold on,
Oh my
Dave, you
God.
got to hear this. I'm going to tell this really funny
I love
story.
you, Steve. You're the best.
Hold on, you got to hear this story. So I actually told the story the other day. There was a bunch of boys in my house, and they were like, "You work for the athletic department at UConn?" I said, "I did." I said, "They're like, what was the best part of it?" And I said, like getting to know all the athletes, blah blah blah. What's the worst part of that about it? I'm like, the cage being across from the O-line room in the field house, in the locker room, the football locker room.
Yeah.
Literally, they would come and ask me for a toothbrush or socks, and I had to look out and see all the naked O-line hanging out, and they didn't care that I was in there. They could care
First
less.
of all, Darby was the one who didn't care. Darby.
None of you cared. Steve,
I
none
cared.
of you cared.
I cared.
I am scarred for life with the things I saw in that locker room. Yeah.
So we did first. Must have been a lot of Planters peanut stories watching you guys showering in the locker room.
Steve,
Ain't that
do you
funny,
remember
Dave?
LaVerge?
Yeah, of course I remember Cameron. Yeah, I remember Cameron. I remember Dirk Diggler. Of course I do.
So we knew he was coming around the corner because we could hear him.
Dirk Diggler, of course, I remember him.
There's always one guy in the group that's got a spoiler for everybody else.
White.
He was definitely a spoiler.
Oh, my brother was black. Joe Baxter, Cortland State, 1990,
he was
89,
white,
89.
so it
He
was
was
just
white.
it was
This
a
kid was
surprise.
white, and he was
Yeah.
like, I don't know, 5'9". He wasn't.
That happens. There's anomalies. There's anomalies everywhere.
Yeah. I wish I was in the
Yeah. What's he doing now? Yeah.
Oh.
I don't know.
Jail.
So
Pornos, jail. What is he doing?
Erica, thank you for being with us, and we'll try to plan for you to come on again. This has been an epic.
Isn't this
Rebel
the best
Republic?
show ever, Rebel Republic? Don't you enjoy it?
It is. We just the ratings are through the roof.
My friend today, she was having a coronary over what was going on with them in this El Salvadorian person, and
Oh my God.
much farther left than me, and she was out of her mind. And I told her, I said, "Well, I'm going on the Rebel Republic tonight," and she's like, "What are you doing?"
Is she watching? Get her to watch.
I don't know.
Have her watch it. Have her watch it.
It's on YouTube. Just go. It's
Okay.
on YouTube.
Have her watch it.
I'll post the link.
And
You
send
We
pictures
welcome everyone
of
on
her.
Rebel
We want to
Republic.
see.
We are the most controversial political talk show in Massachusetts.
Send pictures
So you know.
of her
Send
watching it, of
We're
course.
also
Of her
the
watching
best
it, of course.
political show by far.
We are the best. We're by far the best. That's why Ernie loves us.
I mean, we have open minds. We have
Ernie.
people on that, you know.
Yeah. If we
have
ever went to
different views.
Worcester, we'd all be shot within 10 minutes.
Dave,
Just
have you
so
ever
know.
seen
Worcester,
Ernie
hold on.
before?
The Worcester,
I will show you a
have you
picture of
seen
fucking
the
Ernie.
Worcester? Have you seen the Worcester
The turtle?
town council meeting video?
Yes.
You
Yes.
can't show her that. She's got to go to
No.
bed.
Oh, yeah. You
Will
got to show
I
it
have
to
a
her.
heart attack about
Oh, you
No,
gotta
you'll be-
see it. It's
you'll
the
be able to
You
greatest
don't
thing
have,
ever.
you can't pull. You cannot show her that.
Yeah, look at
She's gonna have a meltdown.
watch
if you
Erica,
show her
just
that.
watch this video and then compare it to like the 504 we're talking about that's being mentioned as DI. It couldn't be any further from the truth. It's crazy.
Really? Oh, I'll have to
it's
look
nuts.
at it.
Worcester,
Oh,
yep.
it's, let me see if I can
Send it to
find
me,
Oh,
Dave.
yeah, here we go. You know what? You can always trust YouTube.
Yeah, send it to me.
It's right up there.
I'm gonna put it up right on the. It's the greatest.
Let's finish with this.
This is the greatest. This is
I sent it to
well-
Dave. I go, Dave, you got to watch this. This is fantastic.
this is. Yes, you're right. You did send it to me. It was the greatest. Let me see if I got it here. Hold on. It was the greatest thing when I watched. I watched it for an hour.
And
An
they were-
hour? How long
Yes.
is it?
No,
It's not long at all. That's how funny it is.
Watch it on repeat.
It's
unbelievable.
members of the Worcester community.
I
The Worcester
speak
Council
as someone who is always misgendered.
Oh, hold on. Let me get this right here.
Yeah, get it right.
I don't.
I speak
Oh, is it showing?
In
It's
favor of
supposed to
my
be showing
city.
flow.
becoming a
No.
sanctuary city
It's not
for people
showing.
like me.
It's not.
No, just
I
the
speak
audio
as
is.
both
Oh, here we
the
go.
Now it is. Now
and
it
the
is.
T in the
I know him. His
LGBT.
name's Precious.
I speak as someone who is always misgendered, like all the time. People refer to me as sir when I prefer to be referred to as ma'am.
Right now in our country, Trump is threatening the trans and gender diverse community. He is using policy to take away protections. He is making it hard for trans people to renew passports, to get the care they need. He is
You're not
trying to
gonna
erase
fall
us.
This is
I
nothing.
want you to know that I do not want to be here. It's my day off.
that?
I do not want to be in your
that-
DMs. I do not want to be in your email
Is that a trans
inboxes.
Trump?
I do not want my creativity writing diss tracks like Kendrick. I don't want to spend an hour applying glitter on my face so that you will hear and see me.
To those claiming that making Worcester a sanctuary city could risk federal funding, that's fear mongering.
If you think you're afraid of Trump,
Oh,
you
yeah,
should
she
see
is.
how afraid of Trump I am.
Can you wrap up, please?
Yes, I can. If you say that you're afraid of Trump and that's why you don't want the city to be a safe space for trans people, you better prepare for trans people to make this a very unsafe space.
Oh no.
Can you look at me and tell me how many of my friends need to die before you do anything?
Please wrap up.
Look at me.
Okay, we're all done here.
We're all done
Fucking
here. Pathetic.
We're all done. Come on.
Where's
I ask you all,
Zod?
family, may we pick up our bricks because we will not go down without every silent
Jesus,
straight
Dave, when
person
does it end?
waking up and seeing the blood on their
Where's
hands.
Zod?
I use the pronoun she and her,
it's a
and I
priest?
am disabled cisgender
I never
lesbian.
saw.
The
Wait,
Jesus that I know would be
This is why
right
they hate
here
it so
in
much,
this
sir.
gallery,
Wait, is she
lined
a
up to
priest? I
speak
didn't see
during
her
this
before.
public comment, standing in solidarity with the brave people here.
I don't remember
The
her.
Jesus I know would be dressed in full drag and serving face, or wrapped in the garb of a non-binary person who knows one gender is way too
I'm
small to
non-binary.
capture their gloriousness.
You're
I cannot
non-binary.
overstate that the United States is rapidly sliding into fascism, and conceding because we are scared of the repercussions validates and
Call that
allows
number
us
right
to
now.
continue.
Call that
How
number.
many lives have to be
646.
lost before you consider fighting back against fascism and corruption?
You have the opportunity to stand up to violence and fascism that is spreading all over our country like wildfire.
I am agender, and I use they, them pronouns.
They, them as a
Oh, she's the
singular
best.
pronoun
She's the best.
has been in use since the 14th century. No one in this room. No
It's
one in
sour
this room
grapes.
is as old as the 14th
Remember the
century,
sour
so I'm
grapes?
going to ask for some adaptation. I invite every member through the chair of City Council to come to my queer studies classroom at Worcester State University. You are all welcome every time, but be aware that you are a guest in my house.
The
when
phone
you
lines are
come.
open now.
And when you come, know that there are
646-828-7666.
strong queer and trans people in my classroom who will collect you with the quickness
Collect you
if
with
you
quickness.
speak out of turn.
The reason that Worcester needs to be a safe space
Gotta
for
let Erica
trans
go to
people is because I can't go home where I can't work. I don't qualify for disability.
I
I
feel
can't
bad
drive because I'm
for-
narcoleptic,
that
and
they
my
feel
family
this
doesn't
way, by
support
the
me
way.
because I'm trans, and then
But
come
it's-
to a city council that won't listen to my
Illusionary.
voice. I need the
She's
city
wearing
to
white
protect
gloves,
me because
Dave.
no one else
She's
will.
wearing
How
gloves.
much
She's
for
a
one
mime.
trans life? How many dollars does it take to put them on the chopping block? I want a precise number. I want a dollar
a
amount.
female?
And who next? Who's
wait.
the next protected group to be
Is that
tied to
a
the
man or
railroad
a
tracks?
woman?
And will you
He's
vote for
angry.
them? Now
That's
is the
Greg
time to
Evigan
stand up
from
for
BB and
tyranny.
the Bear.
You can make all the rules and whatever you want, but you
Is that a
cannot
female?
change
Grandpa's trans?
nature.
Grandpa trans?
Yeah, go ahead and
I don't
finish.
think he's trans. I think he's at the wrong meeting.
I
He thinks he's at
don't-
the VFW.
Uncle Lester.
Okay, well, we got to let Erica go to bed.
No, so-
That's
so
all. Thank you.
What I said, and actually,
all.
Dave, you missed this. I don't know if you heard it in the beginning.
We missed Zod. Where's Zod?
My
Oh.
thing is, like, I really was raised to love everybody. I don't care, and I
I
know
love everybody.
But I honestly, like, if you're trans, if you want to identify as a squirrel, if you,
Do whatever you
don't,
want.
it has
I'm a
no bearing
goat.
on me at
I'm a
all.
goat. Okay.
You love who you love. You do what you do. You identify as what you identify as long as it doesn't impact me in a negative way, I don't care
Right.
what you do. And I feel like everybody's got this going on, and everybody's got an opinion now, and everybody's got something to say. Everybody's got to stop being so judgy and just live. You do you. Like, and stop
Erica,
worrying about what everybody else
I've never marched in the streets with a big flag that has a penis and a vagina and doing the action to tell.
But let
what
me
my
tell you
gender
this.
is.
I don't
Yeah.
know about that, but I do know, and I will say we can leave on this note. One of my very good friends works for the Department of State, and her husband works for the Department of Defense. And they're all on edge right now. Everybody's on edge down in DC, whether they're going to have a job or not have a job. And she and I saw each other a couple weeks ago, and was given a list of words that they can say and they cannot say within the United States government right now as an employee. And one of those words is the word woman. They are not allowed to use the word woman. They are not allowed to write the word
Did
woman.
you say female?
Woman is not an approved word
you have to
with
say
the United
female.
States government if you are an employee now. So
Okay.
the uterus, the whatever, like there are
Yeah.
women that are going to be very passionate about a lot right now because
I wonder
they're
if you can say ovary.
You can't say.
Wait, I'm confused.
A federal employee can't say woman?
They cannot say the word woman. It is not an approved word for them to say.
There's too much controversy behind it.
They literally have a list of words that they are not allowed to use in emails, conversations, any of it. And the word
Can you use the word the?
They can use the word man. They cannot use woman.
Wait.
She literally pulled it up and showed it to me.
Can they use the word female?
That's what I just said. You have to use
woman was
female.
the word on the list.
Well, you can't say
was not
woman. It's just like I was telling Frank. Frank was calling people retards. I said, you can't say retard.
No, you definitely can't say that. But woman, you should be able to say woman. You should be able to say man.
Yeah.
You should be able to say woman.
I heard Joe Rogan say it.
We're validated people.
I mean,
But that's
if
why
you
you're
guys
seeing a
ever
lot of these movements.
Shane Gillis. You ever seen Shane Gillis?
Erica said penis. I mean,
right.
If you can say penis, you can say anything.
No, penis is harmless.
Well, when a woman says penis, it's not harmless.
Nah. And I agree, but like I said, what the problem is that they're pushing it down our throats.
Yes.
They want to make themselves visible now. I think since the 2020 election, when the Biden administration took charge, realistically, it allowed everybody out of the proverbial closet. And it's not just out of the closet. They want to be visible now on the national stage, because it's almost like how women, someone wanted to go out topless. Remember, they always went, the big thing was, I can go topless. I should be able to go topless. And they sued in the state. Now they can go topless.
I remember that. Yeah.
Nobody's going topless. Okay. That was just a way to make a statement. I think these past 4 years, they're making their statement. They're here. And it all piggybacked the George Floyd riots too and all that. If they can do it, we can do it. So now we've been inundated with it. Erica, how many times in TV commercial history have you seen African Americans in TV commercials? And then all of a sudden, after the Trump administration is out and Biden's in, and the George Floyd issue happened,
Well, you said it was
now you
United
see
Nations.
every
you would call it.
commercial, every commercial has an African American
You
in
said
it,
it was
or
United
right, which I don't care. I don't look at it and go, oh my God, it's a black person in the commercial. I'm not going to buy that item. That has nothing to do with it. But the thing is that there becomes a point to where it becomes sickening. And maybe the minorities were sickened of seeing whites everywhere. And so that's where the sticking point is with the whites now, and the downplay of whites, the downplay of capitalism, everything that I never realized I was a slave owner.
You were.
Obviously I wasn't, but somehow I'm associated with it.
Yeah.
My great granddad in Italy must have been a slave owner.
Something of that. Growing up, I was never. That was never a thing. You were white, you owned slaves. No, there were white people, there were black people. There were people in the South that did own slaves. That was the history.
Everybody owns slaves. Everybody in the history of this world at one point or another has owned slaves.
But I'm saying the United States, U.S. history is what it is. And we're trying
to change it.
Books off of shelves that is actual history, because white people owned black people.
Correct.
It happened.
But Erica,
part of history.
When they tell us that I've got to be associated with reparations, I had nobody here in this country. My dad immigrated to this country in 1961.
I think social media is making this a thing.
Well, no, California. I mean, they went to state meetings and met with the governor. They want reparations, and the governor agreed to it. Well, he said, we're going to do reparations, and there's no funding for that. There's no money for that. But what I'm saying is,
I want reparations from Egypt.
Right. For why? What happened? You're Egyptian? Or you're Israeli?
Oh, my father is Jewish.
Right.
So he was once his generation slaves tens of thousands of years ago.
Loser.
Every
called you a loser.
Every
ridiculous.
Every in this world has owned slaves.
The first slave owner was black. Dumbass.
There are still slaves. There are still I know the first slave. I know they were, but whites throughout history have owned slaves.
Yes,
there are still currently 7 or 8 nations that are slave. Saudi Arabia allows slavery. Afghanistan still allows slavery. So bottom line, there are nations out there that still do this to this day. That's why people are saying they're so outraged by what happened here in the United States in the 1800s.
We counted them as 3/5 of a person.
Well, I know. Well, our math was off a little bit, but what are you going to do? But bottom line,
better than most.
Better than most is correct. But bottom line, people have to stop.
You see the comment?
Everyone, no. What is it? This debate will put Rip Van Winkle to sleep.
No, he said that a while ago. He said that a while ago.
You know what you're talking about. You know what you're
I
talking
just
about.
think that everybody needs to like take a beat and
Yeah.
not give a crap what everybody else is doing and just be happy. I mean, I have a friend, she's a lesbian, biracial cop. And she tells me that she feels, or we've had this conversation, she
Lesbian,
feels invalidated
biracial
right
cop.
now. And
Wow.
she can't get married. She can't do, now because she's afraid of all of this stuff. Like that to me, nobody should be able to have to live like that. Like, let her get married. Who cares? Who cares?
I
Let
don't
her
think
love
anyone
somebody.
cares if they get married.
But
Yeah.
people are
All right.
trying to take that
All
right away from them,
All right, we gotta wrap it up. So thank you again.
Oh, Steve.
What do you want? What do you got? A hot date? What's going on here?
We still got to do money line.
I feel like I'm getting the hook. Like
I
it's
got
Erica off stage.
Erica, do you have to go to bed?
I didn't
No,
want to
he's
keep
like
Erica
telling me I
up.
need to go to bed, and he's hooking me off the stage.
She was the one who said she couldn't stay
you
up
should
late.
do your ASMR voice. Okay.
I'm not doing my ASMR
Do
voice.
your ASMR voice. Okay.
I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it. And there's nothing wrong with liking it. I'm sorry. And you're breaking my balls because I did the interview with the girls basketball player and it was wonderful. And you made me.
I've watched a lot of your interviews. Okay. I've watched a lot of them.
No, you haven't.
There's a glow. There's a glow that happens when a female comes
There is
on
not.
as your guest.
There's I never have females as guests.
Hey, I've been a guest.
I've had like 5 female guests.
No, you had more than that.
He touches his vagina just like any other normal female
Right.
You know what, Steve? You know who else has a glow when we have Maria's when we have Maria on? Joe D has a glow.
Joe
Joe D and
Joe
I
gets
need to go on
jealous.
a lunch date. We haven't had a lunch date in a while.
Joe gets jealous when Maria's on. That's funny.
Does he?
Well, you're the one who said that. You thought he got jealous when we had Maria on, or maybe he was just Mark. He didn't like Mark.
Who is it? Mark. Who's Mark?
Oh my God, you've asked this 40
Donato?
times. The locked on guy. Yeah. When Joe quit, he quit 5 times on us. He quit our podcast. It's amazing. It was my idea.
Your podcast?
Yeah, we did a Husky Hoops podcast with Joe D and Maria.
Yeah.
And UConn has a podcast, Locked On. They used to, where Mark Zanato was the host. And
I still think they still have Locked On, but
I'm sure they do. I don't know who they have hosting it, but I was asked by someone in the president's office to have Mark on our podcast as a guest. And this was at 10 o'clock in the morning, and our show started at 11. Now, I didn't alert everyone that Mark was coming on the show. So when we got on, I said, guys, I got some bad news. Mark's coming on. Joe flipped out, threatened to quit, and everyone was furious the entire show. And even Chris D commented, said he was pissed the entire show. He called me after, berated me, screamed at me after, and that was it. And Mark was on the show, and all he did was talk about how great his show was. So that's what happened.
You live and learn, Steve. See? You live and learn. You live and learn.
So
Part of life.
I think we should have more female guests.
Listen, Erica can come on whenever she wants. Erica has been great. She has produced several podcasts. She's done great for us.
Anytime. I am happy to help. I'm
Yes.
always good to bring levity to situations.
Yes, she does. She does wonders. So,
All right, you gotta go, Steve. Go ahead. The music's playing.
The voice of reason and Coach Schumann. Erica, thank you so much. You were a breath of fresh air and made this much more entertaining than it would have been. Brandon Williams, Courtney said, let her stay. Be careful. We love you, Courtney. Money line is coming up. Remember, when life gives you lemons, don't make lemonade. Take 2 oranges, throw them back at life.